Dating made easy.
Dating made easy. You can tell that to weebs, but no one will believe you. I know we are shitting on Star Wars, but let's take a look at another fallen franchise. Stop the video at 640. Okay, RKO. Oh. Uh-huh. What do you mean? The Harry Potter franchise is great. What are you talking about? You loved that movie, right? Did you like it? It's okay. All right. It's okay. All right. Why does it suck?
Fantastic Beasts 2: The Crimes of Grindelwald is the worst movie that I watched last year. And yes, that's counting Axum. I say this because a movie with this much money put into it has no right being this bad. I know this movie already did its rounds in November and everybody already knows it's bad, but since I saw it, I can't stop thinking about it. It's kind of beautiful how horrible it is. I was gonna do a quickie on it when it came out, but I knew I needed to wait and give this movie its due course. So for those of you who haven't seen the last movie or just don't know your Harry Potter lore, let me recap it for you. Oh, and by the way, Warner Brothers is gonna cuck me if I use too much footage, so whenever I get into my rants, I'm gonna alter the footage like this, or use pictures like this. Alright, let's get started. What happens in the first Fantastic Beasts movie? So the Fantastic Beasts series is set 65 years before the Harry Potter saga. In this movie, we follow Pokemon Master Noob Salamander. He goes around and gathers magical animals and writes about them and does other stuff with them, I guess. Yeah, so he's on a trip to bring his Arizona Phoenix to Phoenix, Arizona, but he has an extended layover in New York City. While in New York, he gets into a bunch of shenanigans after some of his Pokemon get loose. He meets new friends like John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, who's a normal, non-magical human who's caught in the middle of all this goofy shit, Tina, an American magical cop, and her sister Queenie, who's the sexiest woman ever to be put on film.
Oh.
You prefer pie or strudel? You prefer strudel, huh, honey?
Shit, Negro! She can also read minds, and she falls in love with Jacob. While this cute little story is happening, we have the side plot where we have Ezra Miller trying his very hardest to look at least a little bit ugly in this movie. Yeah. Ezra plays an orphan boy with secret, dangerous, magical powers. He's actually a fantastic beast himself in a way, and he has a chance of fucking exploding and killing everybody if he gets too upset. And he gets upset a lot because the lady who runs the orphanage that he lives in is a huge bitch. Oh, and Colin Farrell is here too, and he plays an American wizard trying to tempt Ezra Miller to the dark side. Anyway, after some magical adventures, Newt tries to save Ezra from falling to the dark side and exploding, but he fails. Ezra blows up and he dies, and it's revealed that Colin Farrell is actually Johnny Depp.
Oh my
AKA
god.
Grindelwald, aka a super evil wizard Nazi that likes to kill non-magical people for fun. He gets arrested and he goes to magical jail. Newt goes back to London and he says goodbye to all his friends. Jake gets his memory wiped and the story ends. Yeah. All things considered, the movie is not very complicated. The thing is, the movie isn't even really that bad either. I'm among the 3 people in the world who actually kind of like it. The movie feels like a big departure from the other Harry Potter movies. The script is actually pretty good in some places, and the characters are all likable and relatable.
AKA Jack
I
Sparrow.
absolutely love the character of
Johnny
Jake
Depp is
Kowalski,
Jack
and he
Sparrow,
shines as the best character in the movie. I really don't like the Johnny Depp twist, but I do like how Newt is kind of a small part in a larger story. He isn't a powerful or skilled wizard, and they make a point to show us that. When he goes into the final battle, he gets his ass kicked, and then he fails to save the person that he tried to save. I like that. It makes him more interesting than being the chosen one who's destined to save the day. It's not an amazing flick by any means, but I really like slow-paced movies with good scripts. The interactions with these characters are subtle, and they drive the film. You learn everything about these characters without long bouts of needless exposition.
It was entertaining.
I know a lot of hardcore Harry Potter fans that don't really like this movie, but I'm a pretty big fan,
I'm
and I
still
like
waiting
it just
for
fine.
like the drop. Why is he explaining the first movie?
Now,
we already know what happens in the first movie.
It doesn't feel like there should be a sequel to this movie. Like, not a direct sequel. All of these character stories end in this movie, and that's where our first problem arises. The second movie now has to invent new reasons why these characters have to get back into the story. Now, normally I just go straight into the next movie, but first we have to start with how this movie came to be so despised.
I guess he did.
So before we get into that, let's talk about the fall of J.K. Rowling. J.K. Just Kidding Rowling is the author of the Harry Potter books. She also wrote both of these movies. As you probably know, she is a gazillionaire, and she has control over all executive decisions in the wizard universe as a whole. Her power goes farther than you'd probably think, too. For instance, she figured, hey, Hermione could be black, so instead of just making her black in the story, Hermione is now black in the stage adaptation of The Cursed Child. Even though in the books, she's white. She literally only did this to appease the black Harry Potter fans. And as a black Harry Potter fan myself, yeah, it didn't work. This is something that JK likes to do a lot.
Yeah.
She'll make a tweet and she'll retroactively change the story. Sometimes it's to make her world more diverse and inclusive than it actually was. And sometimes it's just weird. The first sign of trouble was back a few years ago when she revealed that Dumbledore was gay the whole time. Now, why didn't she just say so in the books? Well, because he wasn't gay in the books. She changed her mind later. She later revealed that there was also a secret Jewish Hogwarts student in the books the whole time that we never hear about, and his name was Anthony Goldstein, which is probably the most stereotypical Jewish name I've ever heard in my life. Why wasn't Anthony Goldstein in the books or movies? Because he isn't real. She made him up later when people asked her why there weren't any Jewish kids. The problem isn't that she has a political agenda, as some might say. The problem is that she wrote an all-white, all-straight story in the 90s.
Okay.
And she's embarrassed about it now and wants to pretend that it was secretly diverse the whole time. I'm not mad that you made a story about straight white kids. I'm just mad that you keep lying to me. But even though she's clearly lying, the fan base, for the most part, didn't really make a big uproar about this habit until very recently. And nowadays, things have gotten even more insane, with her going so far as to say shit like this.
Hogwarts didn't always have bathrooms. Before adopting Muggle plumbing methods in the 18th century, witches and wizards simply relieved themselves wherever they stood and vanished the evidence.
What?
Jesus.
And beyond that, we have the official sequel to the Harry Potter series, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child.
Plumbing?
A story where Harry's son goes on a time travel adventure to stop Cedric Diggory from being killed by Voldemort. I wish I was making that up. So no, the Crimes of Grindelwald isn't her first failure, but despite all that came before it, I think it does stand as her biggest failure. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Let's talk about what happens in the Crimes of Grindelwald.
All right, so that's where he wanted me to end it. What a meme. Okay, I don't care whether you sleep or how much you what do you think? Do you like the new series, or do you prefer the old Harry, or what's going on? She doesn't care. I thought you were a huge Harry Potter fan. All right, Daniel, the reason for all of your suffering. I'm just more curious about your opinions on this rather than anything, Ashley. Oh, you like the animals. Okay. Behold the reason for all your suffering. All right. What's the reason here? I mean, it's just a movie to me. It's not like I cared about the Harry Potter franchise that much, as anywhere near as much as I cared about the Star Wars. And by all means, I think they dicked on Star Wars way too much. Oh! We hear the reason why they call them. Stop whenever I want. All right, so this is an actual donation one. Obviously, donation ones always get priority. So let's check them out.
Let's talk about what happens in the Crimes of Grindelwald.
That guy Jared, thanks for the 15,
Crimes of Grindelwald
dude.
takes place a few months after the first movie. The main idea behind this series as a whole is that for some reason J.K. Rowling thinks we really need to know about Grindelwald and all of his evil deeds. A character that's only briefly mentioned a few times in the original series.
You gotta try it every once in a while.
The thesis of this series is based on an unseen event in the books where Dumbledore and his secret gay evil lover Grindelwald had a duel long ago. A duel that was recorded as the craziest, most badass wizard duel of all time. So now, naturally, we need a reason to make this story happen on screen. But instead of just making a movie about Dumbledore and Grindelnuts, we have a movie about Newt Scamander, who has almost nothing to do with this conflict.
Yeah,
you know, when I was a kid, I kind of always just assumed that Newt Scamander was just a guy who wrote the monster book. At no point did I think that he was instrumental in the first Wizard World War. So this movie opens up with Grindelwald, who is still in Wizard Jail, but he has to be moved to another Wizard Jail. Now first, I'll mention how this is one of the most overused tropes in any film. An evil character is captured and being safely stored in jail, but for some reason we have to drive them to another jail and give them an opportunity to break out. But this isn't even the worst part of the opening scene, if we're being honest. The worst part to me is that this is a world where people can teleport like it's fucking nothing.
Yeah.
But instead of just apparating him to the other jail, or using a port key, or using flu powder, or teleportation toilets, they have to drive him on a flying carriage.
Yeah.
You guys have so many faster and more convenient ways to get around, but I guess this is what we're doing, so whatever. Anyway, so this Grindelwald that we're seeing right now is actually not Grindelwald at all.
Newer magic.
It's actually one of his followers. The real Grindy switched places with him before the movie began. So this breakout scene is just Grindelwald coming back to break out the guy who broke him out earlier. And this is just really unnecessarily complicated. This is the first scene and the movie is already being stupid. Now, you could say that this scene exists to show us that Grindelwald values the loyalty of his followers. After all, he's not even in jail anymore, but he went back to save this guy. And that's what I thought at first, but then Grindelwald looks at this lizard that helped him escape, and just to show us that he is indeed evil, he just throws it out the window. Anyway, right after this super dark and bleak intro, we see Mr. Salamander again, playing with his cute Pokemon. This moment stands out as being a little too cute right after we watched men drown and fall to their deaths.
Yeah.
This is actually a problem with the whole movie. I'd say 90% of the movie is violent or depressing, but then we have very brief scenes of Newt and his cute mascots doing cute things. It just does not fit. The tone of this movie is all over the place. So anyway, now Newt is in the Ministry of Magic, and why is the camera so close to these characters?
Like,
can we back up, please? God damn, now I know why he doesn't like other people. They don't give him any space.
Your brain hurts?
So Newt is here because he's in trouble for causing havoc in the last movie, so the big important wizards tell him he's not allowed to travel internationally anymore. But they say they'll get rid of his travel ban if he joins the government as a wizard cop. But why? Why do they want Newt to be an Auror? He's not a very good spellcaster, and he's a weirdo who doesn't even get along with people. They specifically want him to help take down Grindelwald.
Wasn't it because
but why? Why do you think he'll be any good at this? And why is that the only condition for lifting his travel ban? What's wrong with letting a magical zookeeper go to Guam? The movie is literally just inventing a fake reason to pull this character into the story. The whole arc for Newt in this movie is that everyone tells him he has to pick a side in this conflict. But why? He just wants to do his own thing. He's a fucking zookeeper. Why would either side even want him this badly? It's only been 12 minutes so far, and everything has been stupid. And
okay, alright. That's enough complaining about this movie for me. That guy, Jared, thanks for the 15.